I like this, but again, it sounded like a question that needs to be posed to a company PR or corporate com. So if you guys want to ask this question, may I suggest that if a brand encounters a bad situation, this brand refers to a company. Tapi kalau you ask this in the context of personal, what are the measures should be taken to that situation? So if a brand of a person, if a person has said something wrong, for example, in a bad situation or conflict, what the measures should be taken to combat such situation relevant. But right now, the question sounds like it needs to a PR and corporate person, which I am not. So I cannot answer it in a contextual of this question. It's making sense. And then the other one is, sekejap ya. Okay, question number 3. Such as newspaper ads, okay, fine, billboard and billboard. Tiba-tiba ada punya muka dekat billboard. Kita bukan Nilofer. Unless kalau kita Nilofer lah kot. So I'm just giving you guys something to think about in terms of relooking at questions are going to be asked. I mean, I'm quite okay answering, but it may not, what do you call that, achieve to the desired you guys want it. Because I'm not a corporate com person. Yeah.
All right, we'll try to inform them about this.
Okay. I'm good.
So we are going to start now. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a pleasant morning. Welcome to the Magnificent 7 Communication Series, a plus factor to gain. We would like to extend our warm welcome to Yang dihormati Mrs. Hani Razai Flender, co-founder and general manager of Dragonfire Corporate Solutions Sendirian Berhad, yang berusaha. Siti Zanaria binti Haji Yusuf, advisor of IPRMSA Uniza chapter. Yang berusaha Siti Nur Syafika binti Zulkarnain, the president of IPRMSA Uniza chapter. Yang berusaha Mr. Muhammad bin Abu Hassan, the head of program, as well as lecturers and students. I would like to take a moment to recognize and thank all the audience for attending this talk. My name is Wan Sabiha Auji, and it is my pleasure to be your MC today. Ladies and gentlemen, before I proceed, I invoke the Almighty God for His things, and may peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. With that, I would like to call upon for the dua recitation. Please welcome.
Thank you, moderator. Those non-Muslim are welcome to pray accordingly. Al-Fatih. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله رب العالمين. حمدا وتوبة مزيدا يا ربنا لما ينبغي جلال سوء وكريم عليم وعزيز سلطانك. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد. اللهم إنا نسألك سلامة في الدين وعافية في الزاد وزيادة في العلم وبركة في الرزق وتوبة قبل الموت ورحمة عند الموت ومغفرة اللهم هون علينا في سكرة الموت والنجاة من النار وعفو عند الحساب إنا على ذكرك وشكرك وحسن عبادتك. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, you are the one who created the wonders of the moon and the sun, the skies and the sea, that cycles, also the wonders and six heavens. You are the most merciful and gracious one. Grant us your forgiveness and love. Bless us, our family, our friends, our relatives, and people around the world. How we can walk on your path. Treasure us with your radar, so we will become blissful and successful people as Ya Allah, amidst this current pandemic, take us away from COVID-19. We seek refuge in your evil disease. Bless us all with peace, health, and happiness. With that, bless our program to the effort will gain your rahmah the most to its last second. Please put nothing in this program but all good blessings. ربنا إن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. آمين يا رب العالمين.
Thank you, Mr. Amma, for the beautiful prayers. May our event be blessed and run accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, information, the Magnificent 7 Communication Series program is a collaboration between Planiza to bring value and experience communication industries practitioners, as well as specialists to help provide the advantages to the students when venturing into the world of public relations. It is a great honor for IPR MSA Uniza to embark a journey together with Plus, as it is the largest highway world, which spans across 1,030 kilometers long and also covers East Coast with 184 long highway known as L2, which is the Lebuh Pantai Timur Kedua. With this collaboration, it is hoped that this is able to give exposures to students about the importance of communications field in an organization and the skills needed. I also want to enlighten the students about the careers in communications through the online seminars ideas that will be shared by the experts. Now, we're going to show you a montage video of IPRM SA UNISA chapter. Please enjoy. Now, allow me to spare some time to introduce our respective speaker for this session, Mrs. Hani Shir, and the General Manager of Dragon Fire Corporate Solutions, Sendirian Berhad, a Kuala Lumpur-based management consulting firm, and Dragon Fire Academy, a center for continuous adult learning. She is the career doctor for her coaching roles, private clients in their quest to find in their career history as an executive search prof and a career transition and outplacement professional in the OD practices. So for today's um so I'm to invite Mrs. Hani to share some share her experience and knowledge regarding personal brand.
Thanks, Abia.
So without further delay, I'm going to ask a few questions to Mrs. Hani. About the first question is, what is a personal branding?
Okay, so the first question, we'll just get onto it, right? Okay, there has always been a confusion between personal branding and personal brand. Okay, so what happened is that between these two subtle differences in terms of what it is all about, personal brand is a concise effort of us individual to create, to shape, to convey how the perception of us, our targeted audience. So that's no branding. It is the action of how we're going to present ourselves to the public. So that's personal branding. Yeah, personal brand is an icon, or a term or design. It is you yourself at how you position yourself into your targeted with your targeted audience, and associate or see you a brand as a brand, as a person. So personal branding is the action. The personal brand is the item. In this case, is you. I hope I'm making sense.
So
Sorry.
the item is the person itself.
Yes, the item is itself. The brand. It's just like, for example, when we see a golden arches, right? If we're hungry and we drive up to town, and then we feel burgers, for example, and then you see golden arches. What does that represent? You know what golden arches is, right? So you know what McDonald's. Golden arches, McDonald's,
It is
right?
a logo
Yes,
that's known.
yes, that's a well-known brand. And then you feel like having coffee. You in the city, and then you'll see this logo that represents a mermaid that's in green color. You know what brand is that? So that's a brand, but brand is the act of putting out this brand into the market to your clientele or targeted market. So that is the process or the act of this brand out there. So that's the difference. I have to. I usually have to explain in terms of the logo and all that, because that's brand, and all these brands, such as Mermaid, for example, they don't even have to put a label to say that they are McDonald's. They don't have to say that they are Starbucks, or Nike or Domino's, because the brand itself that they are. So if you think of it, personal branding, the brand is you. So, if you walk among your friends, your colleagues, you are the walking brand. Make sense?
Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Okay, the next question is, what makes a good personal brand stands out from the rest?
Well, number one, I always believe in authenticity. What does this mean in terms of authenticity? Whatever that you put out on and offline must be synergized, must be the same. Sometimes we get to see our personalities. They tend to post all this stuff online. How good they are. They have this and do that, and they say, oh, I believe in charitable work, and so on and so forth. And then sometimes too meet them on the streets, for example. They're not as warm as they want people to see them, as in on. They're nowhere near sometimes. So the best personal brand, to my mind, is that you need to possess online and offline. You need to be the same.
Walk the talk.
Yeah, you walk the talk. If and fine line also between sharing what's useful versus bragging. So bragging is all about them. It's all about me. I'm this. I'm good. I'm beautiful. I'm whatever. But authenticity also means that there's also humbleness in when they present themselves into the targeted audience. So authenticity. So you got to walk the talk, like what you said, and you got to know what you're talking about. Otherwise, it takes only so long for you fluff your way out. People will discover. People are not people.
They will test us.
Of course, they will test us. We have people nowadays a lot, because you can Google up, you can ask friends, all of you, your young minds are very, very curious. So you tend to ask more questions than many of us. All right, so you discover things. So authenticity is very important.
Yeah, we need to have authenticity.
Yep.
Okay.
Agree.
I'm going to the next question. The
Sure.
next question is, what can we do to self-branding?
Okay. Your questions.
Hard questions. Sorry.
These are all hard questions. Personal branding. Okay, so to enhance, is that what?
Improve self-branding.
Self-branding. Well, number one, we need to figure out what we're presenting. What are we presenting? So that's number one. But I also, on the same note, also I think we figure out what's our brand. What's our brand? And I like to remove the pressure of, when we talk about personal brand, there's always the pressure of trying to figure out, so what's my brand? Because it's technical to some people. So let me to remove that first by putting this in a context of superpower. Okay, so superpowers. We all have watched, Captain America. We watch all kind, and Wonder Woman, for example. So these heroes have superpowers. And next question is, we need to ask, what's our superpowers? So what's our superpowers? What are you known for? So this is usually the hardest question, because if we don't know what our superpowers are, what we're good at, then it's kind of difficult to design our the message to convey to intended audience. So we need to know what we're good at. So for example, for young minds, young, fresh, they may think that they don't have many superpowers. That's not true. You guys have so many superpowers. For example, the superpowers of creating PowerPoint deck, as one. If you are good at making sense by doing storytelling through numbers or data, so that's superpowers. If you can paint, if you can cook well, for example, I'm giving some simple examples here first, so that it makes sense. And as long as no one dies, you take your powers. Okay, so all this kind of stuff we need to understand first, and then we need to. So who are we conveying this brand? Yeah. And again, coming back to fresh grads, young people who just comes out from universities, the intended audience would be your future employers. Again here, your lecturers, yeah. And in fact, don't just stop. It might be those stakeholders around you that you don't know that they matter, yeah. Because we need to map out who are our stakeholders around here. So it might be, friends, for example, friends of friends. So you need now presenting it too. And then number three, you need to know how to design the message. What kind of messages are we putting out there? What are we? So by knowing is not enough. By putting it down on a piece of paper and saying it out and acting it out and doing what we are supposed to do. We need to be more authenticity. So we need to do that. And then we need to, we are doing this. We are doing this. If we're talking about social, pick a place or places where you want to exist. Me personally, I'm active I'm active on Twitter, Facebook, on my personal page. They're all blocked. Okay, so that's just for family and close. But we have company Facebook as well, the Career Doctors pages. Instagram is off limit unless you guys want to see, cats. But these are the steps that I think to be able to do it better. These are the things that we need to consider and really putting it down on a piece of paper. I hope I'm making sense, Sabiha. So very simple, a few steps to do as a guideline.
First, we need to find out our abilities that makes us different from the other, and then we need to apply and practice. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And trying to decide who is your audience, who are you talking to present, right? So could it be your future employers? Could it be your lecturers, friends, of course? And if you're a man or woman, for example, so just talking at a slightly different level, very important. For example, I designed my own personal brand in order to clients, and these are clients. And of course, the question is what kind of clients? So that's personal brand again, and I have who am I talking to so that they buy my services. Yeah, so that's how it works. Yes, and then of course you need to design that where do you want to be. For me, it's LinkedIn and Twitter. So for you guys, LinkedIn. And, yes, you need to find the medium where you want to play, I would say.
Thank you for answering my question. And the next question is, what can we portray how can we portray the branding in public? Do you understand the question?
How can you repeat the question?
How can we portray personal branding in?
Okay. How again? It goes authenticity. So that is the everything else here. To portray, how to portray? Well, you have to walk the talk. Okay. So number to make sure that you exist in some of platform. Unfortunately, for a lot of people, the social media, they exist on social media for only limited reason, and sometimes they're there. For example, it used to be Facebook that was to get a job and something like that, and then LinkedIn steps in. Nowadays, Facebook is reserved for social networking, yeah, and LinkedIn, for example, is reserved for professional networking. There's also a blurry line nowadays to mix it a little with social networking at the same time, because we want to portray that we are also human. And when we exist on social media, we need to design our messages. When I say design, what it means is we need to think a little bit more. So we cannot post, except if we're on Facebook and it's all reserved for fans, right? But LinkedIn, you cannot just I had coffee this morning, and you know what? It tastes good. You can do that on LinkedIn. You can, of course, nobody is going to not posting that kind of stuff, but it's not LinkedIn material. It's no material. Again, how you need a little bit more, and that's the reason why we need to have also, you know, when we start thinking more about developing our personal brand and the personal thing is that you have to self-check. You know, whenever we type out there, even though we have deleted it, somebody might have been it. So ever and ever and ever.
What's on internet stays in the
Yeah, what's on the internet, it stays in the internet somewhere, somehow, in another realm. It will nowhere that it will go away. So for us, lesson is that whatever that you want to put out there, that's why, you know, recruiters nowadays, hiring, they take time as well to do research about candidates. Got to be careful with whatever that you put out there, you know, nonsense kind of thing, because it'll come back and haunt you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree with you. And that we should watch out our words and what we post.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you know, Sabia, it doesn't mean that we have to be mechanical about. You know, it's okay to share something. You know, something that we observe, creating the content. I'm not going to even say we need to create content, which but it gives us a lot of pressure when we say, hey, you need to create content for your brand. It's kind of stressful, isn't it? You got any more question for me?
Yeah, got a few questions.
Okay.
What is the importance of a personal branding in our career? The importance of it in our career.
You know, every year we have about close to 200,000 students coming out from universities. Close to 200,000. Statistically, our unemployability rate is high. The job market actually is as saturated as what some people think it is. There are opportunities still, companies are still hiring. However, it is an employer's market, not an employee's market. So what it means is that employees have full choices to pick, you know, the kind of people that they want to hire. So what does that means as well to on the lookout for jobs? So it be, you know, your fresh grad and the not so fresh grads, those who are being retrenched, you know, that personal brand also means that you you want to be a little bit different than the guy or the person next to you. So you want to be a little bit different. It's very important. It's a crowded market, job market out there. You want to stand out a little bit different. You want to shout out a little bit louder. You want to make sure that potential employers hear you, you know, see you, remember you, be reminded of you, and that's where personal to play. Again, coming back to the platform we talked about earlier, right? And this is a place where you shine. You know, every clean slate. It's up to you on how you want to design your personal brand, because you know you can be almost whatever you want. So it's very important to get that job, that referral, to get that business. It's very important. And in fact, Sabia, just to quickly share with you, as a business owner, you know, social media has played a very important role in our business. And in fact, by using social media, we don't spend much investment in marketing per se. You know, like billboard or something like that. We don't have billboards. But in terms of sales conversion, anyone here who sales conversion, yeah, we convert 70%. We have a 70% sales by purely using just social media and um, using social credits. It's part of whole ecosystem or element of converting our network into intangible, and that is sales. Percent is very high.
It's very.
Of course. More
Can
questions.
The next question will be: Does physical affect personal branding?
I like to say yes, but let me clarify that. Physical appearance in what way? Because my definition of physical appearance right now, maybe you have in mind. Can you clarify what does that mean? Do we need to have, green skin, or pink hair? What does it mean?
I think it's about looks. Do we need to be good looking?
Well, beauty is a beholder, isn't it? Someone who you think is beautiful, and I look at this person and go, what are you thinking, Sabiha? Yeah, I think looks personally. Yeah, go ahead. What do you have in mind?
For example, like if you're well known, like we act an actor, then people will know us more.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm no celebrity. That's for sure. I can guarantee you that I don't saying, the rate if I do that. But I also think that I don't like to use this word influencer. Okay, this term influencers on social media, right? You have YouTubers, you have vloggers, you have content creators, and you have people like, Tuan Syed, for example. That I think that, for the lack of better words, these are influencers because people follow them. They have good values. People like to follow, emulate them for a lot of reasons. And this is where it becomes a responsibility. Responsibility in the sense that, to my mind, we need to be human at the same time. So we can't be looking all spruced up all the time, But I think in terms of appearance, we need to keep a certain standard lah. Not that we are always dressed up, but I hygiene to look nice. We don't have to be decked out in branded wear, for example. Once you step out, or even at home, and you step out into the public eyes, it's everybody's responsibility. It's not just a celebrity responsibility, but it's everybody's responsibility. You, me, everyone here has this social responsibility to at least look decent, to at least look nice, smell nice, kept hair. So it doesn't mean that you should look, all decked up. No, but at least look the social responsibility for everyone.
Basic hygiene.
Yeah, basic hygiene. You look nice. You don't want to be, when you look at who has messy hair, unkept and all that, and he says that he's an expert in this, and you go like, okay, prove to me.
Don't really trust him.
Yes, that's right. So I think there's a correlation somewhat between appearance to what people trust, because basically a brand is something that you trust. So you have to ask yourself, how can I be better today to create that trust? and you do not seen as not as someone who cannot be trusted. So
Okay, thank you. The next question is, what if we ignore the personal branding?
you don't get a job, you don't get businesses. That's very clear. You will be lost between the Bermuda Triangle of social. That's what it is, you know. People will still remember you, but for all the right. So you ignore. Why are we ignoring? You know, it's just like driving a car. You want to go from point A to point B, but you don't tell the driver. You let somebody else drive you, right? And you don't tell the driver how do you want to get from point A to point B. So up to that person to drive, you know, taking which route and all that. So why are we allowing this? We need to make sure that we are on the driver's seat, yeah, and making sure we take the route that we want, and to reach where we want, we need to take charge of our personal brand. So if we ignore it, somebody else will design it for us.
Okay. The next question is, does the way we present ourselves in social media and our posting on social media affect our branding? I think you have answered this before.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. But I think that this is a very popular question. Yes, it will. Let me recap. Posts out there, yes, it will affect good or bad. So which one do you want? You know, the good effect or the bad effect?
The great effect.
Of course.
Okay. The 10th question is, what is your advice to anyone to build their own personal brand?
Very good question. Introvert, a preference. Being an introvert is a preference. You know, do you consider yourself introvert or extrovert, Sabina?
I'm
An introvert. Why do you say that you're an introvert?
I prefer to be alone.
Or in smaller group, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, among family and friends.
Rather than a large group.
Okay, yeah, sounds like somebody who prefers keeping to a smaller group, smaller circle versus big circle. So, you know, social media is some of the platform created. I think social media is created for industry. You know, where you don't have to meet. You don't have to meet. You don't have to go out and meet 100 people in a room. Does that make sense? You know, you don't have to go out physically, make time, beat the traffic jam, and meeting 100 people, 100 strangers that you don't really want to be with because you don't know them, you know, and it's tiring and all that. So social media is perfect. This is where, you know, come back to what I said earlier, trying to understand what are your superpowers and designing your messages to out there is very crucial. Being a person who prefers smaller group, media doesn't mean anything in that context, because once your messages go out, for example, on LinkedIn, you cannot stop it from, because that's what it does. That's what LinkedIn is all about. Facebook is all about, you know, it just goes out, the messages goes viral, right? So I think it's perfect. It's no real context of you know, going out physically again. I think it's just
Maybe. Because some people are shy, but they became a keyboard line.
which is not good as well, you know, some people, they just love being keyboard warriors. What do you think about keyboard warriors? I don't like them.
I don't like them.
Yeah, keyboard warriors, you know, they talk loud, and yet when you got them face to face, it's like Malay name for it, tong kosong, okay? You know, the tier the box is, the can is, the louder it sounds. Yeah. Yeah.
Next question is, nowadays there are so many people get famous because of their bad attitude that get viral on social media. So how can one improve their personal branding if this happen to them? If they once get viral by doing bad things.
First and foremost, don't do bad things, right? Don't post all this silly stuff
Take
first.
the precaution.
Yeah, take the precaution. It's called risk management. If none of us takes risk, if none of us not think about risk management when we are out there in social media, I think we're shooting ourselves on a foot. Because again, we know that it will stay there. Whatever is there, it will stay there. There is such thing as um, uh, for services, what is recovery. I'm not quite sure whether the service recovery of publicity will help will help much unless you bury the bad publicity with good stuff, and that's why ambition management, you do something silly and then you post it out and then it goes viral, right? And this has caused damage to somebody's reputation. Say for example, Ahmad has done something silly, somebody took a picture and it goes viral. That has spoiled his reputation. So what would happen? Ali needs to recover his reputation. What can he do? There's only a few things. Number one, it's something that he needs to be apologizing for. He needs to apologize. It needs to come from his heart. Otherwise, people will call it. And I'm going to say this: half-ass. Okay, you do it because you have to, but it doesn't feel. So you don't do that. But if you need to apologize, do it sincerely. Number two, now you need to make amends because you have that responsibility to tell people that that have changed. So again, it's authenticity. You need to flag the so-called market or your channels with all the good stuff now. Remember, will always still be there, maybe another 10,000 pages of Google search, but find you. Would it ever go away? No, I don't think so. People before, I don't know about, maybe yes, maybe no, but will people forget? People will not forget because you will always be there. So reputation is very important. So that's the keyword, reputation management. You need to manage reputation. If you say that you can do this, make sure you can do it. Don't cheat. If you say that you have a doctorate, whatever, you know, make sure that where do you get that. If you say that you've done a job for this ABC, make sure you can prove it, because people are not stupid. You know, people can find it, and it's so easy through on the internet. Yeah, reputation management, crucial.
Sorry. And in personal branding, how can we avoid ourselves from being manipulated by certain parties, such as uh, privacy concern, misleading information? How will bring bad image and reputation to ourselves?
Question.
Oh yeah, let me repeat. How How can we avoid ourselves
Uh-huh.
from being manipulated by certain parties?
As an individual,
Okay.
I don't know, and I'm going to answer this based on my understanding. So if whoever is asking this question has the intention to draw out an answer, you have to forgive me. Yeah. Manipulation comes in various forms. It can be through, interaction face to face, etc., etc. But I also think that manipulation, a person who is able to be manipulated, is because they themselves have no ilmu in a certain topic. Yeah. If they don't have enough ilmu to do the analysis of a certain topic, then that might be of a challenge. And that critical thinking is very important to do the analysis of information they receive. If you have enough of this, then it is easier for us to be manipulated, because number one, tak ada ilmu, we don't have ilmu. Number two, we don't have enough critical evaluate the data or the information that comes to us. So how can we avoid that? We need to ask tough questions. We need to ask tough questions. And I'm relating this to perhaps, nowadays we receive fake news. Fake news, right? So we receive so many fake news, left, right, the top, down, and everything. And I would receive this, our WhatsApp, Telegram, happily forward, because you know why? It's hot topic, is exciting and controversial. Do we take enough time to ask questions, asking where are the resources? For example, somebody say, so has done this, is proven, forward this because somebody is this, and we are happily forward. Until somebody who has enough ilmu, who has more critical than us, are asking tough questions. Where is the source? What proof do you have? Can you demonstrate that this has happened? You cannot answer all of this. We have the social responsibility to ask all these tough questions. Why are we not asking these tough questions? Because sometimes it's scary to know the truth that we are part of this ecosystem, forwarding all these fake. So I ask tough questions lah. Ask, okay, bro, where's the link? Where's the source? Can you prove? I'm just merely forwarding. I cannot. We have that social responsibility. Jadi fitnah. Kan? Do you want to be the person to menyebarkan fitnah? Of course not. Our faith doesn't like that. So why are we doing it?
So we should find proofs before spreading it.
Yes. Ask questions. Ask
Okay.
questions, not just questions.
The next question is, one tip given by experts is to have consistency. What is your thoughts regarding consistency in personal branding and the effects if someone is not consistent? Like consistent as in being.
Yeah, sure. Part of the things that I do as what my work is to run workshops for personal branding and how to use a certain social media platform to create that personal. And there is always a question of how many times I post. a week, in a month, in a day. There's so many school of thoughts about this. You know, somebody once a day, twice a day, a few times a week, month. My personal opinion, when you have just started designing messages of your to audience, you need to do it. So the next question is, how often? I promote it as once a day.
Daily.
Yeah, once a day. Because there's several stages now, you know. So there's the starting stages where you just started to, you know, create your personal brand, trying to find your way, trying to figure out what the heck am I supposed to write on a daily basis. And there's always a challenge of a 7 challenge. I usually put a 7-day challenge where my students, where my participants will be challenged to write once a day for 7 days. And then we push it a little bit more to a daily post of 14 days. So we have a challenge or a 14-day challenge for a lot of reasons. Because each week the themes will be a little bit different so that they can understand what goes on if they post narrative versus how does the response look like when they start posting with pictures or images, links, you know. So there are several things that they need to do. So for if they've been put into a 7-day challenge, yeah, so they need to post on a day. As a starter, somebody who just started, this is great because number one, it makes them think a little bit than their messages, you know, crafting that brand message or messages. Number two, because that they now appear often, 7 times, in front of somebody's newsfeed. That's great. That to create a habit, need to do it 21 days. So can you imagine if they post for 21 days, their post keeps on appearing on people's feed and is consistent in terms of messaging, people remember them. Isn't that great? All you need to do is just, you know, capture your experience, post it, and boom, you know. But you have to be authentic in the messaging. But what I'm saying is that it's very possible to your messages out there and make people be remembered of you. So how often? First stage, you need to post as often as possible. You need to put out your story as often as possible.
So we need to post daily for the starter pack.
Yes, I am an advocate of daily posting for those who have just, so that people will remember you, people will recognize you. Yeah, more recognition than anything, and creating that trust. Remember, why are we putting out personal brand out there? Because we want to create trust. As a fresh grad, you want to remember you, knowing your superpowers. Remember, and trust, knowing that you are in certain things. Yeah, as a business owner, you put out your personal brand by posting, you know, the things that you do. Trust, again, trust. It's very important, and allowing your potential clients, whoever they are, to know that you do all this stuff, and not by saying it. So you have to show, not just by saying, hey, you know, I can cook, and Sabiha kata, oh, show me.
True.
Right? I can say whatever you want, but you, Sabiha, may not believe that I can cook. Okay, no one has died yet so far, but I say I can cook. I say I can cook nasi lemak. Okay, you say, prove it, honey. Prove to me that you can cook nasi lemak. And for amateur, they will say, okay, I will cook nasi lemak. But for a more pro, they will ask, you want nasi lemak with lauk ke? You know, you want nasi lemak bungkus ke? Yang ke? Tu pro. You see? That's how, that's levels. But before you start cooking fancy nasi lemak, you have to know how to cook basic nasi. Right? So same concept.
Thank you. Can we continue to our next
Sure.
question, or you want to take a break?
Up now, I'm okay. Keep on the questions coming. All these questions very, very interesting. Yes, they are. So I'm looking forward for more questions from the floor. Happy to answer them.
Next question is: a powerful brand needs a powerful marketing. Okay.
Okay. Problem solver, but to me, a brand or not needs element of marketing, because the brand is a problem solver that can solve a lot of things. But before the marketing can step in, we need to define what the brand is. What is it that we're marketing out? I mean, marketing can do so much. You can have the best of marketing framework, but if they don't product per se, item, product, service clearly defined, then it's going to be a failed marketing. Do powerful marketing. Before I answer that, we need to understand what marketing is all about, right? So marketing basically is a process or strategies to put out a brand. Now, coming back to your powerful brand needs marketing. To me, not necessarily. If it's a good brand, marketing would be helpful to help this brand put. But must it be powerful? I don't know what's the definition of powerful here. Should we have a billboard above the line, below the line? You know, we have a PR to work on this brand. I mean, if you're bottomless pit pocket to do that, yeah, why not? But if we're talking about personal brand, authenticity, we need to go to the basics first. We need to know what we have. Yeah? And how does this marketing works? Word of mouth is powerful marketing. Is this powerful? I think so. I define powerful marketing as something which is effective. So it doesn't have to be a billboard or an advertisement, something like that. It would be nice to have my face on the billboard, but I don't think I can afford it.
The next question is: do you think that personal branding is commonly misunderstood?
To what context are we saying here? Understood with what?
Understood.
Between personal brand and personal branding?
Yes.
You think? I think I've addressed that. A lot of people are confused between personal brand and personal branding. So if I may, personal branding, personal brand is the item, the thing. You is the personal brand, is the brand. Personal branding is the conscious effort that you design, you create that perception and present it to your target. So personal brand and personal branding may sound the same, but they're not.
The item and the process.
I
think that's all for me. That's all the questions that I want to ask.
Oh, okay, Sabiha, it looks like we have a very interesting question in the chat box.
On the chat.
What do you think? What do you think? There's Kashimi. That's a good question. Following the recent, shall we address this? Shall we discuss this question? Do we have time?
Yes, we have time for that.
Okay. So shall we try to discuss about this question from Fazli?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, daging harimau menangis. On social media. Okay, what is the lesson learned from the occasion in building successful and healthy brand? I suppose my take on this daging harimau menangis thing is that okay. Thanks for the question, Fazli. I think this is a relevant question. I may be on some people's toes, but I will try. Share what I think about this recent viral news. Yeah, I think this is where we jump to, you know, how some people, they are very excited to do something because we're passionate, we're excited about it, and all that. And of course, the comment, because we're so attached to our social media, we just post it up. And here's the thing. Sometimes whatever that we put out may not mean the same as what we have here in our mind. And that's where we simply put out our messages on social media, because what we type out, we send out, may not be the same. I think we thought is what we think not get translated well. Why? Because, you know, we have so many people who process information differently, different definition, different perception. So perception management is very important. I don't know really what happened between the original post, a person who posted, versus what has been received and commented for the daging menangis. But the lesson here is that before we do anything at all, especially when it's part of our brand, right? We need to stop, write it down, think about the pro and con. Should I do this? Should I not? The next question is, because if this is very crucial to promote your brand, you need to do this. You cannot just simply go out. Okay, so you need to write it down, think about it, look at the pro, and ask yourself, if you post this out, you have to ask, why am I posting this out? What is the objective of me putting out this content? Am I putting this out because I want to claim that I know best? Am I putting this out to share information, to say FYI for your information? You know, it is the same concept, the same analogy. You know, is this FYA for your action? Okay, I'm putting this out, so it's up to act on it. What is it? What is it? So again, to be successful and healthy brand, self-regulation. You know, to self-regulate. And how self-regulate? You have to ask yourself tough question. Again, we spoke about tough question. Asking yourself tough question. Why am I doing this? Oh, I want to get it out so that I can spite some people. Okay, but every action has a reaction, you know. And then the original content was posted by somebody, and that is an action, and the reaction back, wow, you know, not so good. So I hope I've addressed Fazli's question, and I thought that was interesting.
We need to reevaluate first, because they post a story video.
And it will stay forever.
Because someone's recorded it.
Absolutely, it's so powerful. This thing, okay, I can't see it. Mobile phone is so powerful nowadays. You know, you can record, you can print screen, and it goes to so many platforms. Guess what? A high percentage of us go through media on our mobile phone. It's so easy to forward. Gone, you're dead meat. Wrong content, that's it. Yeah. And people can, you know, record you too, right? So gotta be careful.
Thank you so much, Hani.
You're most welcome.
For informative, we're going to proceed the Q&A session. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hani, for the informative answers.
Sure. We're stuck.
Sorry, internet. That was knowledge that has been shared just now will be practiced in future use. Moving to the question and answer session. For those who want to answer, for those who want to ask questions, kindly turn.
Yep. I'll be happy to attempt to answer your questions. Your burning questions about the brand.
Assalamualaikum, Madam Hani. Okay, sorry,
Waalaikumsalam.
my camera is there's a problem with my camera.
No worries, Nazri.
Okay, my name is Muhammad Nazri bin Abu Hassan. Currently, I'm a final year student of Bachelor in English with Communications. My question is, okay, pertaining to social media, so personal branding be different? Let's say if you focus on one platform, let's say in LinkedIn, so perhaps our brand more or less we look like a professional, since we know that LinkedIn usually audience is basically from a professional sector, and let's say in Instagram perhaps our brand maybe look like more casual. So what do you think about?
Okay, we go back to basics, authenticity. Of course, by the way, thanks so much for the question. So coming back to what I want to say, of course, you know, personal, whatever that we put out must be authentic enough for our audience to receive and process, and intended outcome is to create us. Again, we need to ask who is our target market. For LinkedIn, it is all professionals, I would say. So the content will be skewed towards professionalism in terms of, you know, images, the messages, etc., etc. Instagram doesn't have much narrative. Instagram is all about visual, yeah. Versus LinkedIn, you can add on narrative, images, videos. Now we have LinkedIn Live and all that. It's a lot more dimension in terms of LinkedIn versus Instagram. These are totally different animals altogether, in a sense that we cannot comparison between apple and pear, even though both are fruits. Okay, so Instagram more of a visual. It might be more chill content in terms of the images that you want to showcase to your client, but it may not be as corporate as you want it to be. So you need to find a concept with Instagram. The concept is to share the activities that you have put forth, for example. That's fine, but make sure that it also exists in some other platform. So, for example, our LinkedIn can be linked to Twitter. So Twitter is short. So what happens is that once you post out something on LinkedIn, which consists of 1,300 words, you can link to your Twitter, and because it's 1,000 words, it cannot accommodate the whole Twitter space. It gives you a link, but it has a very basic except where it goes back to your LinkedIn. So Instagram, you cannot have a narrative, 1,300 characters. It needs to be represented visuals. How do you want the visuals or images, the story that you have on your LinkedIn? That's creativity. That's creativity. But you got to make sure that all the messages are the same. You know, values. Don't lie. Okay, don't cheat. and feel might be a little bit casual, like I said, but that you have to stop from synchronizing the messages across your social media. So basically what I'm saying is that different platform has a different concept, but you have to be authentic enough to synchronize your messages all. Are you active?
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Madam Ani.
Yeah, are you active on app?
Recently, no. Currently, I'm looking forward at
Yes, LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me.
yeah, sure.
I'll be very happy. Yeah, happy to be connected to you. And there's really awesome people within my network, and you should be on LinkedIn.
Okay, thank you, Madam.
Anyone else? Anyone else who would like to ask a question?
Hi, morning.
Good morning.
Hani.
Good morning, Tasri.
My name is Ahmad from Malaysia. I'm a final year of bachelor. For my question, to ask that from my observation of our local founder of ethic product,
Okay.
in their perspective of personal wedding, they turn quirky and doing silly things in their posting. So how about your opinion on their
On
activity?
these characters, it works, right?
Yes.
It works for it.
Yes.
So who had to say that it doesn't work and they shouldn't do that? It's not my place. It's not my place. As long as it works for them, I have a say to say that, hey, you know what, you do that because I tak suka, I'm nyampah. I dislike it. It's not my place because it works for them. But I think I understand where you come from, where you're coming from with this question. What works for other people may not work for, so got to be careful. Yeah. Whether what they do is something that we like, not necessarily. Some can be just, they present themselves by this provoking, something very, very controversial. I must say that they've got lots of guts to that, because I don't think they want to do that or even creative enough to think of any controversial issues to be associated with me. So that's what I think. If it works for them and it works because you are talking about it,
Oh.
so a viral is a good viral. Would I do it? No. Would you do it?
For me, I'm very scared to do such thing, but thanks for the answer.
Yeah, I mean, somebody, treat this as this concept. Everybody's a great cup of tea, but not one drinks tea. So that's the analogy. Go.
Thanks, madam.
Okay, Sabia, I think we have a question from chat box. Sabia, I think there's somebody is asking about set fishing tactic.
Set fishing. Like asking for sympathy? Or
Yeah, so there's a question here from Anis. Do you think it's ethical to use a fishing tactic in curating your personal brand Okay, my opinion, this is pure, so there's a caveat. I think this question has a similar theme to Encik Tasri's question. Works, then it works. But personally, I don't favor catfishing, because there's a few elements that come into play with one. Why to be with someone who's so negative every day, isn't it? Life is abundance, and when too much of sad fishing is used to create personal brand, it's I call it toxicity. So too much of toxicity, or toxicity is not good. You don't want to be associated with anything that is toxic or negative. So sad fishing, it is what it is. Sad fishing. Every post is sad. Every post is sad. Every post is oh my God, you know, self-pity, victim, etc., etc. It is just claustrophobic. Don't do that, because people will associate you with something bad every time, because without is something that
Bad feeling too.
Yeah, that's right. And I think there's another layer to this sad fishing. I think there's issue or deeper issues for posting, you know, sad posts to create attention. I think there's psychological issues at the same time. And for those of us who keep saying this trend on somebody's post, I think if we have the capacity or the capability to approach this person personally, we could do that, because you know, psychological sad fishing is psychological. Normal do that. So there. Normal people don't do that all the time. It doesn't work that way. Okay to post, you know, to post signs about things that is happening to us because we're a human being. That's fine, but we don't do that day. When we do that every day, then there's deep psychological issues with it. What are we trying to address? Are we reaching out for help? What is it? So if we see someone who does sad fishing, is this real tactic or is a call for help? I've seen cases before, you know, writing about, you know, really dramatic stuff. Oh, I'm ready to take my life. I'm a rooftop already, ready to jump. Anyone wants to say yes or no? Post here. You know, that kind of stuff is so dramatic. And it turns out he is at home. Home, okay? It's good because people might see it as cry wolf as well. Yeah. So don't go there. Try not to go there. I hope I have answered Ani's question. Okay, Sabiha, we have another question from Siti Zanaria. Hi, Madam Hani. In your opinion, should we share different branding strategy from the Western due to different culture? There's no difference, I think, citizen area. There's no difference. If it's a strategy, then it's a whatever strategy that you design is is culturally by content might be a little bit different, but strategy is a strategy. So whatever to your brand advantage, I suppose it's good. For example, if your brand strategy, personal brand strategy is to talk about, let's say, let's find something sensitive here, really. Okay, so if it works, and they treat certain things in a different way. So it can be anything and everything. Depends. Whatever works. But again, like I mentioned, every action has a reaction, and that transcends across culture. Yeah. For in North America, you got to be careful in putting out messages about certain context of messages on race, for example. Yeah. Here in Malaysia, generally, we don't feel it, maybe because a bit ignorant. Some of us are a bit ignorant, cannot call a certain race with a certain name. So either we're ignorant or we don't care. So which one is that? Again, question, I think personal strategy, if it works for you to your competitive brand advantage, then there's no difference. I don't see any difference at all based from my past experience and my observation. I don't see it at all. Content a little bit different, the approach might be a little bit different, but strategy is still more or less the same. I hope I'm wrong that. Yeah.
I think that's the last question.
Okay.
Hi, yeah, the question.
Sabia, one more question.
We can.
Okay.
Hi,
All right.
I'm Fazli from the chat box. I have another question.
Sure.
And looking at Apple as from being a humble phone company to being a luxury brand, what can we look forward for to brands like to develop their branding using digitalization, maybe 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future? Because we see that digitalization is accelerated rapidly during this pandemic. So what can we look forward for in the future for brands to be developed digitalization?
Okay. Thanks so much, Fazli, for that beautiful question, I would say. However, I must put caveat, I'm not a corporate comm. I'm a person, or I'm also not a PR practitioner. But I respond to your question in the context of personal brand, putting Apple as an example of the grounding item to map with our personal brand. With digitalization, with personal branding context of digitalization and how we can harness this, and how we can look forward to is that we need to create something what I call social media fluency, and technology fluency at the same time. We need to kind of up our game in ourselves, in upskilling in the areas of several fluency, digital fluency, social media fluency, technology fluency, and all that, simply because it's the way forward. So for those of us who are still not understanding what is the meaning of this fluency, is that we need to know how certain platforms, for example, we are meeting here today on Google Meet. So for those here with Google Meet, we know that we need to have the link, right? We need to know the basics. Number one, we need to have a device. Otherwise, then how can we get into our meeting today? So we need to have a device, a phone or a laptop or a desktop. So that's number one. Number two, we need to have access to the internet. So how do we do that? We have data, or do we have something like we need a broadband? What do we need? Again, depending on the device and all that. So and the third one, to know, okay, what's the, we are meeting on Google Meet. So some of us don't even know what is Google Meet. So that is a fluent knowledge, understanding what platform is it. Is it be on Zoom? Is it going to be on, WebEx, on things like that? So these are fluency again. Yeah. And next one might be understanding, okay, in order for me to get into this Google Meet, I need a link. Again, if you are not fluent in language, then you would know what to ask for or to look out for. Yeah. So what do we need to look forward to? Upskilling. In understanding the fluency of all of this that will help us to be better in the not there. I bet you, in 5 years time there will be more canggih, platforms and devices. But right now, what we need to do is to increase our fluency in all of these things. The media, social media, and all that. We need to. Otherwise, then we'll be so left behind. And we need to upgrade our devices, our ecosystem when learning virtually, for example, having this kind of meeting and all that. We need to be fluent. Not enough just to know, we need to be fluent. Fluency here means we need to know how it works. Yeah, we don't have to be a real expert in it. Because unless you want to, you need to know how certain things behave. If you're on LinkedIn, how it behaves. Definitely, we need to upskill and ramp it up like ASAP, like today.
Thank you so much, Madam Hani. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Okay, good.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we have come to the end of our talk. All in all, we would like to wish and express our sincerest gratitude to our speaker of the day for those great informations. Thank the lecturers as well as here for your participation and support throughout this entire talk. To apologize for any recurrence inconvenience during the course of this talk. Thus marks the end of our talk. May this club sparks the student spirit to continue striving the best for the better future, especially in the field of public relations. And may you spend the rest of your day in high spirit. As always, wear your mask and stay safe. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before we go, I would like to ask everyone in this online room for a brief photo session. May I ask all of our guests to please turn on your cam and strike your most confident pose. Please pose for like 5 seconds to screen capture it.
Oh, that's too bad for those who left.
They left early.
You're most welcome, Safia.
Done. Thank you so much, Madam.
You're most welcome. Thank you. It's been a pleasure being here and answering all your tough questions. They certainly, make my brain challenged. Thank you, and thank you for the great moderation.
I think that's all.
Okay, great.